body language. But before we get started, each and every one of you, since you're in here at the courthouse, you need to be sworn in before you can even get involved. So raise your right hand and repeat after me. I solemnly swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, nothing but the truth, so help me God. Hold your hand up, keep your hand up, look at your partner next to you. Are your fingers wide open? Are they closed? Is your wrist bent back? Or is it coming forward? Okay, everyone get a really good look at your partner next to you, because I'm going to tell you if that person's going to lie to you. The person that holds their hand up like this with their fingers wide open, they will tell you the whole truth and nothing but the truth, except they're going to give you so much information you really don't need to hear it all. And the person that had their hand like this, wrist bent back, shame, shame, shame on you. You're the one that's going to bend the story to get yourself out of a little hot water if you need to. We can see him right here in action. And I'm going to share with you what I want you to look for, because in my training programs, I put you through an in-depth training so that you really, really get it. All right, so before you do that, you have to do what we call establish a baseline. Does anyone know what a baseline is? Yes. Exactly, and then? Very good. She said it is a starting point and you measure it from then. A very good question. Anyone else? All right, so the first thing you want to do is what we call norming. Norming is just that 5-minute introduction. You just sit and chit chat with them. You find out about stuff about them, what's going on, the weather, you know, just kind of the ambiguous stuff. Stuff that's not going to increase the anxiety, okay? You use that as your baseline, and that's what we call their norm. That's when they're not under stress. That's the norm. Then you compare everything to that norm, and that is when you're starting now to note for your shifts and your changes, okay? So when you're, let's say you're in a negotiation, you've already established their norm, the kind of opening 5-minute statement and just chit-chatting along, and now you're talking about how much it's going to cost. You see them shift, what does that tell you? When you read facial expressions, if I were to hand someone a contract and they had this little micro expression that looks like this, a little flash of the eyebrows, but then followed by this slight concealed smile, I'm delighted with the number. Now, could be like this, tightening up the mouth, maybe slightly leaning back, taking it back in again. They're not happy with it. So you don't have to say, I can tell you're not happy by your micro expression. You're not buying into this. All right, so let's look at this picture here. This is Dr. Ekman, the real Dr. Ekman. Which smile do you think is true and which one's false? Anyone? Pardon me? You think this one is true? No. You think that one's true? How many people here think that this one is a genuine smile? Okay, show of hands. How many think that this one here is a genuine smile? Okay, great. Well, let me tell you the difference. Everyone right now smile. Does your eyes open or do they close? Close. They do? That's more like, Joanne, that's fear, okay? All right. Let me tell you something. Not all smiles are treated equal, are they? Remember, what was the one thing that I said that people lie behind? Anyone? There is a moment where you're going to see his eyebrows just kind of flashing. Our facial gestures move so quickly, they happen in 1/15th to 1/25th of a second. And if you know what you're looking for, you can spot them just like this when you become very, very well trained. Now, would you have seen that in the naked eye, just your first glance? But ladies and gentlemen, that's what I teach you to see. So quickly, you wouldn't believe it. Let's say I took this box and put it right here. Because what you want for her to do is pull it into her. Just try it. Because no one likes anyone to shove anything at them. Yeah, if you do that, here, by the way, oh, here's our contract right here. And they're kind of like looking at it. That's the first thing they want to, oh, it's to do with money. Put it right here because they're going to be like glancing at it and thinking, well, okay. then you can come around to their side of the table and join them. Try it. And we're going to play to tell the truth. And I have 3 contestants. If they would please come up here. So we know that somebody's going to lie and somebody's going to tell the truth, okay? So I'm not going to tell you who's going to tell the truth and who's going to lie to you. But I'm going to open this up because what we're going to look for is what I just shared with you. It's called norming and baseline. Remember we talked about kind of norming them up and then kind of feeling out how they actually respond. And then they're going to tell you a story about the funniest thing that ever happened in their life. And then you guys get to ask them questions. Okay. What I'd like to share with you is there's no Pinocchio response with reading body language. Okay? A lot of you think that if somebody crosses their arms or that they maybe look up to the right or to the left, that they may be telling a lie, right? How many of you have been taught that? The problem is that we've been told incorrectly because there is no single word for a specific action. So this is not defensive. It could be you're cold. What else could it be? Anyone? Comforting. Some people maybe don't feel comfortable with the middle side, so they'll kind of cover that up. Kinesthetic people, people that are highly emotional, usually like to hug themselves. So it's really important to understand that when you're reading people, that it really is an art and the science, and there's not one specific gesture with any specific meaning. Oftentimes, we have been taught inappropriately. But what I'm coming to share with you today is the real, true research by Dr. Paul Ekman. Has anyone ever heard of him from Lie to Me? The television program Lie to Me? Okay, well in my training programs, which you have in front of you, one that's coming up in Tallahassee, that's going to include how to read those facial expressions of emotions. First of all, in body language, how much of that percentage do you think is contributed just to how we communicate? How much? 55%, that's correct. Hey! Look at his facial expressions. What does that tell you? Grief, worry, surprise. Holy cow. Okay. 38% is in our voice. Just in our voice in itself, that how we use our voice intonation, our rhythm, our pace, how we stop, we pause, we hesitate, in there are clues. And only 7% of them are really contributed to the word spoken. So for me, words are just words. I don't listen to the words as much as I listen to the other 93% of the communication, because that's what's giving you the real true story. Because we have all been duped, haven't we? Right? That we have walked away from relationships that we believed in, business and personal, that we thought for sure that that relationship was a long-term relationship. Only to find out what? It's not truthful. I'm going to buy. Yes, we're on board. We're going to do it. But what you didn't notice is when they were saying that, their body language is turned to the side. Okay? So they were only giving you part of the communication. How often do they make that comment straight on and what we call the belly button rule? Okay? When somebody is telling you the truth and someone is being authentic, they will naturally align their body language or their belly button in your direction. Now, I love going to the clubs and hanging out and watching the couples. Okay? We got one guy that's watching the sports channel, you got the other woman that's trying to get his attention, and what happens? He's watching he's watching program, and she's trying to get his attention to say, hey, I'm here. But you know what? The more that he ignores her, what does she do? She leans in more into this begging position. What does he do? He focuses more because he doesn't want to be intruded upon. See, this is one interesting thing about nonverbal communication, is that when someone is totally on with you, look at their angles. Are their shoulders aligned with you? Are they turned? What about their feet? Are they parallel with you, or is one foot going to one side? Because that's telling you where they want to exit. Are they making good eye contact with you? Are they giving you a genuine smile? Or is there only a smile on the bottom region, but you don't see any brightness or lightness in their eyes? See, this is the one thing you need to look for when you're in sales and prospecting, why it's important to be able to evaluate the truthfulness of others. Every single one. I close mostly all my deals only because I am really good at reading people. And you guys can learn the same thing too, because once you read people, you know now how to maneuver, how to give them what they want. Because sometimes they don't know, but by reading their facial expressions, you'll be able to read emotions, and in those motions is telling you exactly what's going on inside here that they may not even know themselves. In evaluating truthfulness is we're looking for inconsistencies. Does the facial expressions match the words? Does the words match the body language? Does it all tie together and tell a story? Or is something doesn't fit?
We're looking at to see who looks more confident. So who would you trust? Look at these two pictures here. Okay, which one likes this one better? Raise your hands. Which one likes this one better? You all didn't see this. If you would have turned around, almost everyone back there raised their hands. So we might have to do a little purging and cleaning, kind of dusting and cleaning, kind of remove some of the things that we don't need anymore and start kind of revving it up a little bit. Go shopping, enjoy yourself, have some fun. You don't have to do it really expensively. Go through your closet. If you don't feel powerful in it, you don't feel successful in it, you don't feel like you're on top of your game, purge it and get rid of it. And I've shook a lot of CEO hands, and they shake my hands with this limp handshake. Don't ask me how they got there. It had to be somebody knew somebody in the family. The wimp handshake. Yes, really. The wimp handshake is the one that kind of comes down and the wrist is kind of bent. Which is really interesting when I saw Romney as he was walking off the stage when Obama got the last pat in. Look at the video. He walks off the stage like this with his hand down like this. Okay? He put his hand gesture in a defeat position. So how would that make you feel if a customer gave you that aggressive handshake? What's that? Start high. That's not a bad idea, really. Start high because you got to bring them down. Good job. What is this telling you? The person that's shaking your hand like this. Oh, not interested? I would think that this person, first of all, she's thinking that she's what? Superior. Who gives a princess script? Oh, hello, darling. Right? What you do is when you come in, you look at the hand, you do give them the powerful, you look them in the eye, and then you give them a pat on their shoulder. But you've got to seal it right here. Look at the handshake, because I'm saying I'm making the deal. Come up, pat, pat, smile. That's how you seal the deal.